Once we finish, inshallah, this short lecture tonight, we have a very good news that one of our sisters, her name is Kenya, she has come today and she has showed interest in accepting Islam as well. So we will be doing that after, inshallah, after this short lecture tonight. All right, so as you know, yesterday when we were doing the hadith of Prophet ﷺ in regards to qada, destiny, we said that we're going to try to cover both the hadiths, but I was able to cover only one. And I mentioned that perhaps it may be possible that I will just cover one, but the intention was to cover two. So today we're going to cover the last one about the topic. And as I told you before, this has so many hadiths. This chapter here has so many hadiths, but because we're trying to give a summary of these chapters, I'm just picking some important hadiths that I see them to be fitting, for us here. Before we move on into the hadith, this statement of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, I want to mention to you a distinguishment that scholars throughout the centuries they have given in regards to these two terms, qada and qadar. I believe I have mentioned this before some times ago, but it's good to repeat that again. And you will not find this in the Quran, the definition. Though in practice, they both go, qada and qadar. They're not defined in the Quran, but you will find ayahs where these two terms are being used in different ways. So scholars came up with this understanding that qada is a decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That program that we talked about last night. Where it is already decided, but it did not necessarily take place. So again, it is written down. It is a part of that destiny that's going to happen in the future for sure, but it did not take place yet. That's called again qada. And you have different verses in the Quran where this word is used in that context. The other word that is often used that refers to the destiny is qadar. Qadar is a decision of God again, a part of the destiny that was written down to take place and it already took place. In other words, it was fulfilled. Sometimes we use that, Arabs in particularly use this, and this is also based on the hadith of the Nabi alayhi salatu قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ. So Allah willed, and whatever He willed, He did. Meaning that it has already taken place. It took place already. And these words would be used in times when something already takes place. Like people, they gather, for example, and they say, oh, what happened? قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلْ. It's already done, and whatever God willed, it happened. That's it. So it's done. Just to make it kind of relevant, without going too much into a hadith and the verse of the Quran. Just, something for everyone to remember. Again, qada, it's a decision of Allah, the destiny that did not necessarily fulfill yet. And qadar is that destiny or the decision of God that has already taken place in this world. Alright, so keeping that in mind, I think it's something, this is not set in stone as I said, but this is the understanding of the scholars in regards to these two different terms. Now, let's get back to our hadith tonight. And this hadith comes to us from Sayyidina Abdullah bin Amr radiallahu anhuma. Since it's quite long, I'm going to go straight into the English part of it. Who narrates that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam came forth carrying two books in his hands. All right? He came forth in front of the companions carrying two books in his hands. And he asked, do you know what these two books are? They said, no, O Messenger of God, unless you inform us. So he said about the books in his right hand, it is a book from the Lord of the worlds. In it are the names of those worthy of paradise, and the names of their forefathers and their tribes. Then it is compiled to the last of them, so that their names will not be increased or decreased ever. In other words, it's not in these books, it is not only present, you don't find only the names of those who have passed away already and who will end up in paradise, but the names of those who are about to come as well until the day of judgment and who will go to paradise. Then it is compiled to the last one of them, so that their names will not be increased or decreased ever. Then he said about the books in his left hand, these are the books from the Lord of the worlds. It has the names of those who will dwell in hellfire, and the names of their forefathers and their tribes, and it is compiled to the last of them, so that there will be no addition to their names, nor a decreased from them ever. So his companions asked him, then why perform deeds, O Messenger of Allah? Now pay attention very closely to what Prophet is describing to them and the question that they're asking. If Allah has already chosen who's going to go to hellfire and who's going to go to paradise, then what's the purpose of performing deeds? Somebody asking a question, it's a very, it's not just a sensitive question, but it's also, it makes sense, right? To ask a question like that. When somebody explains it to you and tells you, hey, this is it. I mean, people who are going to go to the fire are already known, and people who are going to go to paradise are already known. It's already kind of decided. And it's already written down, he said. Remember, highlight the words written down. That's very important right there. They're already written down. Then why we perform deeds, O Messenger of God, if that matter is decided already? He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, follow the straight path and draw near to God. Follow the straight path. What does it mean, follow the straight path and draw near to God? It means that you have to get engaged with performing deeds. So he is already refusing now what they're saying there. He's already against what they're saying. He says, follow good deeds and also follow the straight path and draw near to Allah. For the deeds of the one who is to go to paradise will be concluded with a deed deserving those who will go to paradise. However, he may have behaved in life. And the deeds of the one who is to go to the hellfire will be concluded with a deed of those who will go to hellfire, whomsoever he may have behaved before that. Whomsoever he may have behaved before that. What does that mean again? Well, here's the thing. The way how the person has lived the life, that's the way how the person is also going to die. Right? That's why Prophet used to ask Allah, oh God, make us, or actually in a hadith he said, the way how you live, you're going to die. It's another hadith. And the way how you die, you're going to be resurrected. Meaning that if you lived as a believer, you will die as a believer. And if you died as a believer, you will be resurrected as a believer. But if you lived as a disbeliever, you will die as a disbeliever. And you will be resurrected as well in the same way. That's what it means, this part right here. And then he continues by saying, then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made a gesture with his hands and cast the books away, saying, your Lord has decided already concerning the creatures. So here, we do not see any statement where Prophet ﷺ is saying that God has forced His creation to do this, 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 this. You don't find this anywhere. Or the creation of God is forced to do only what God tells them to do. But all you see in these ahadith and the verse of the Quran, it talks about that Allah is, He is all powerful and He has full knowledge of the future. And as a part of that knowledge, He has already written down everything in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, in that preserved tablet. And people who will go to the hellfire, they're already in the list, because He knows who's going to go into the hellfire. And people who are going to paradise, they're already in the list, because God knows who's going to go to that place. So again, we don't want to strip the ability of God knowing and writing it down of what's going to happen in the future and remove it away from Him, like He doesn't deserve to know all of this stuff. For sure, He will know and He will write it down, and He knows from the beginning all the way to the end. Everything. Not even a single drop, a single leaf from the tree that falls down, it does not fall down without Him knowing that, without being encompassed in His knowledge. But what's important to know here too is this, as I mentioned, and I am emphasizing it again tonight. What's important to know is that the humans have this ability and the freedom to choose whether they want to do good or they want to do bad. And Allah ultimately wants humans to do good, wants to see humans in paradise, wants humans to benefit. And He has blessed them so much with countless blessings. And He has sent messengers after messengers, books after books, in order to keep them on track. And in case they get lost, hey, here we have other messengers that are coming to you and telling you the right path from the wrong one. But it is the human being, the one who actually decides to do otherwise. But now, as I said again, Allah knows what's going to happen. Therefore, He has written all of this down. And this is a part of the destiny. Not because Allah is forcing you to do that, but because you are going to do that, and that is within the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And your resting place, your future, everything in His hands and in His preserved tablet as well. This is the true belief of those who are guided on the straight path, of the awliyas of Allah, of the ulamas of this deen, and the Prophet ﷺ's explanations in these hadiths, when you hear hadiths like this. So this way people, they don't get confused. They don't say like, oh well, if God has already, put everything down and has, decided, then what is for us here? No, He put that down and He made that as a part of the destiny, and this is what's going to happen in the future. Why? Because you are going to choose that. You are going to come up with that. But in the knowledge of God, this already pre-existed before you were even created, before the world was even created. And that's what makes a difference between a creator and the creation. No creation is able to know this. No creation has the power to know what's going to happen always. This sets now the differentiation between what is created and what is not created, what is God pretty much. I think these are very important pieces of our creed that if they are understood correctly, we would be at peace with the qada and the qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you reflect more into this one, you as an individual will be able to be satisfied with God, to be satisfied with this world, and to look at this world in a different way. And not necessarily look at this world as a punishment or the disease as a punishment, and to go crazy and to have so much depression and to have this and that, and jealousy and dissatisfaction and all of these diseases that people suffer from. Having this great concept of what qada is, it puts you at peace with God, with yourself, and with the world around. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who understand these important points from our religion, and make us from those who inshallah they live as believers, they die as believers, and they're resurrected as believers as well. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. So at this point, inshallah, I'm going to get over there to Sister